Finally, some free time. Can't wait to sit down and paint some of my world eaters. What could be better than an evening with Berserker? Wait a minute, what is that? It can't be. Hello everyone and welcome back to the Red Path. My name is Dara and today I've got a very special review video for you. We are going to be unboxing and reviewing the Kingdom of Bretonnia box set for Warhammer The Old World. This is not the typical video that you would see on the Red Path. It's nothing to do with World Eaters today, but in response to the community survey that I put out just before Christmas, a lot of you wanted to see things that weren't just World Eaters on the channel, and I got my hands on this box very recently, and I thought what better way to kind of kick things off in that little bit of a different spin than unboxing and taking a look at this wonderful army set. Now, the Warhammer The Old World, it's a very exciting game system that has just come out from GW, and I personally am really hyped to get tucked into it because there's a lot of nostalgia with the Old World tied up for me. When I was young, like 10 or 11 years old, one of the first systems that I actually played from Games Workshop was Warhammer Fantasy Battles back in the day. My brother and I, we got the Battle for Skull Pass box set, the Orcs and Goblins one, and the Dwarves from back in the day. And we used to just like play games of it. We had a very loose grasp of how the rules actually worked and stuff. And I must say, we probably weren't playing the game correct at all. But, you know, we were doing battles on the kitchen table. We had books put under the tablecloth to simulate hills. We had walls made out of cocktail sticks, the whole kind of shebang that you have back in the day when you don't have a lot of disposable income. But there was a lot of really brilliant core memories which sort of cemented my love for tabletop gaming in general made during that time period. So when I heard that the Old World was coming back, I was really excited to kind of relive some of those things, and I picked the Kingdom of Bretonnia as an army to get into for a few different reasons. The miniatures are pretty awesome. I think they have aged actually particularly well in comparison to some of the other ranges, and they offer a really different palette from what I'm used to actually painting with the Grimdark World Eaters Space Marine kind of aesthetic. Now, I will be trying to paint these guys Grimdark as well, but I'm going to be incorporating a lot of different colors which I don't normally use into the palette, and I'm really excited to actually just get these guys on the table and start painting them. However, that's not what we're really going to be doing today. What we are going to be doing is opening up this box, looking at everything that's inside, taking a look at the rulebook, and finally we might actually put a couple of miniatures together and see how they all kind of work. So it's a really exciting one. I am very excited to actually open this. I haven't opened it at all yet, so this is going to be a first look for me. And yeah, if you guys really like this kind of content, let me know down below. Drop a like in the video, all that kind of good stuff, because that lets me know that this is the kind of thing that you're all interested in as well. So we might make more of that in the future going forward. But let's stop the talking. Let's get the cover off of this box and get diving into it. So without further ado, grab yourselves a brew and let's dive into this. All right, let's get stuck into this one. This is going to be wild. I'm really excited to crack this open. Just before we get started, to talk about the kind of like artwork and presentation of this box, I really love it. Like this spread of peasantry and knights and the Royal Pegasus taking up the main kind of image on the front. It's all wonderful. And yeah, I'm just a huge fan of this presentation and how the Old World boxes are being laid out so far. But let's open this bad boy up and see what is on the inside. Now, it is quite a heavy box overall, but oh yeah, now we're talking. Okay, this is pretty hype. We're off to a brilliant start already. We've got the templates going on here. That's really cool. Can't wait to get using those in battles again. There won't be any debates at the table about that, I'm sure. But this is the real deal right here. These two things. The Range Ruler, a more elegant weapon from a civilized age a long time ago. Absolutely incredible. Definitely will never be used, but hey, cool. Nice that it's there. Right, there's a lot of sprues going on here. Straight away, I can kind of tell which are the new sprues and which are the old sprues, because, you know, you look at something like this and it's like, yep, that's a very modern GW style of sprue. Like it's pretty packed. The use of space is very good. Looks like this could be the rider of the Royal Pegasus. I see his funny little head here. Yeah, looks brilliant. And then we have something like this. This is more like what I'm used to seeing from back in the day. This sprue economy is terrible. Like, you know, it's like back in the day, the guys were like, all right, cool. Best we can do is like 4 arms, a couple of heads, and a few torsos on the sprue. That's all. There's no possible way that we can make use of any of this space. So if we look at them side by side, it really goes to show just how far GW has come in their kind of sprue design, because I reckon there's more bits on this one tiny sprue, which kind of fits over this, than there is on maybe 2 or 3 of these put together. But, you know, at the same time, we've got the peasants here by the looks of it. There's some phenomenal heads in here, some really ugly dudes, which is absolutely what I want to be seeing. And real chunky halberds. They're actually quite thick boys as well, I must say. That's quite funny, but this is also just something I absolutely love to see. Completely unordained shields, you know, absolutely ripe for a little bit of freehand, some check patterning, some different colors and stuff. Oh, I can't wait to actually get painting the peasants. They're something I'm really excited about. So yeah, can't wait to get my hands on them. But let's have a look at what else is in here. So straight away, this is interesting. It's just a bag of bits. You know, I think it might be the Pegasus Knights, or at least part of them. I'm certainly seeing a lot of wings and stuff in here, but and a few floating horse heads. Interesting that they're just not on a sprue, and it looks like we just have a bag of horses here as well. That's cool. Unique, I would say. Not actually what I was expecting, but yeah, cool. That'll make life a little bit easier. Just a casual bag of horses. Looking at what else we have now, I can see that there is a lot more of these peasant kind of sprues in here. That's fine. Oh yeah, now we're talking. This is some of the knight pieces. Yeah, they're looking really cool. Actually, wow, the amount of detail on the horse heads here is quite impressive. I think the lances are a little bit thick. I might pare them down just a little bit so that they might look a little bit more realistic once we actually get into the modeling and stuff like that. But yeah, lots of really cool knightly pieces here. I'm guessing this is again one of the more modern sprues for the Royal Pegasus. This is a much fresher looking sculpt, and again it's quite a packed sprue. You can really see, like, I mean, the difference between those newer sculpts and these ones from back in the day. The level of detail and the scaling is just very different, even from the look. Get some of these out of the way here now. Yeah, now we're talking. I think these are some of the archers. I really love that. Actually, it's one thing that I'll gush a little bit about, because we don't really see it that much anymore. But you know, the way they have these like little wooden palisades, I think this chain here is part of it that the archers have in front of them, and you have all these minute details, like, you know, an axe stuck in a little bit of a tree, or there's like a barrel with some wine or something next to it, and all these really small little things that you just don't really see that much on miniatures or on sprues anymore. But honestly, I really like those little details and stuff. I'm very excited to kind of build some of those elements too. There's quite a lot of archer sprues in here, a lot more of the peasantry as well. I think it looks like they all have pole arms of some description, which is fine, but I think what I'm actually going to try and do is kit bash them with some of the new AOS Cities of Sigmar guys, just to vary up the weaponry that the peasants are carrying around a little bit. I love the steel helms on them as well. Like they just look ridiculous, and honestly, I'm going to say it again, they're all extremely ugly, which is brilliant. You know, it's something I can relate to in the boys. Looks like a lot more bowmen going on in here. Yeah, there's the classic Warhammer bow kind of pose. We like that. It's all good. Yeah, I'm just going to move some of these sprues out of the way now. It's starting to stack up a little bit. We're kind of getting to the bottom of this. I mean, I guess it's going to be a lot of the same, because there is an awful lot of sort of similar poses going on here. Really love these banner designs as well, just giving you so much scope for freehand and different types of design and stuff. What is this dude though? Have a look at this guy's head here, folks. It's absolutely wild. Let me see if I can get the camera in on it. Just completely ridiculous. Some sort of three-horned jester kind of looking ass, but fair enough, I guess. This looks like one of the knight sprues. Yeah, we got some really nice Bretonnian helm heads going on here. Bit of sprue hair coming off here. That's nice. Yeah, wow, this is cool. I'm a big fan of this. Love the antler horned heads as well. That's what we want to be seeing on these. God, the actual human heads down here. They leave a little bit to be desired, to be honest, in terms of the detail, but that's okay because we simply just won't use them. Very nice though. Looks like a couple more sprues of that to fill out the horseman ranks, which is awesome. And then we have some more archers. So that is the sprue content. We have this nice sort of blocker here now, this page which stops the sprues from actually impacting anything underneath, which they've been doing a bit of these days, so that's nice to see. Okay, so now we're into the basement of the box, where the lovely little rulebook is residing, and this is a hefty tome. Let's take this bad boy out. This weighs a lot, guys. This is really heavy. Some reference sheets on the back there, that's nice, but this is cool. Yeah, we're going to dive into this in just a little bit, so I'm going to put it to one side right now. But aside from that, we've also got this handy little sort of, I guess, companion guide. Probably got some instructions and bits and pieces about the Bretonnian dudes. That's all well and good. And then at the end of the box here, we just have, yeah, we've got the bases and we've got the dice. So that is the contents of the box. It's a packed one. There's definitely a lot going on in here. So why don't we cut away now and let's take a look at this rulebook in depth. That's going to be coming up next. So opening up the rulebook here, I'm immediately greeted with this stunning map of the old world, which is just absolutely gorgeous. You know, I love a good cartography piece, and maps like this just really kind of immerse me in the world. But moving into the actual contents of the book here, it seems to me that there is an awful lot of rules. A good few hundred pages are dedicated to the rules of the game, which is kind of saying to me already that this is going to be complicated. It's not going to be an easy one to pick up, but that's fine. Now, moving into the actual book, it is festooned with gorgeous artwork from, you know, a lot of the greats that used to work with GW. There is some modern pieces in here as well, some new artwork, which is really cool to see, but a lot of it is familiar to me. I may not have seen, you know, every single piece that I'm looking at here, but the vast majority of it is stuff that I've come across before, and it's great to see it here printed again. Overall, the flow of the book is really nice. You know, there's some great full color pictures in here. There's some pictures of miniatures, everything that you kind of want to see from an old school GW book. I love it. But what's it like in terms of rules? Well, it's time to set aside some time and actually have a read of how this game plays. So the rules for Warhammer the Old World are intense. They are very deep and they go on for a very long period of time. The game is extremely complicated and I won't claim to have really a firm grasp of the rules from what I've read and watched on various places so far, but from what I have seen and from what I have read, I do like it. If you want a game that is going to immerse you in a fantasy, grimdark kind of setting, this is the one for you. The main reason that I love this is that it really pulls you into the setting. A lot of the terminology used in the book, the names for the rules, the universal special rules, everything like that, it's pulling me back to a time in my childhood. So it's really hitting the nostalgia tones. And even the way the book is laid out, the presentation of the color pages, the miniatures on display, the artwork, it feels like it's designed to take you back to the past. And I like that a lot. For someone who maybe doesn't have that kind of nostalgia vibe with the old world, maybe they got into the game a little bit later before Warhammer Fantasy came back, you know, in the time of Age of Sigmar and all that, they probably won't have that same experience. And I do think that Games Workshop are trying to capitalize on that kind of nostalgia factor for an awful lot of this game, and depending on its game success and all that kind of good stuff, I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing. Not every single game has to be really simple. Some people want to get their teeth sucked into a deep rule set which has a lot of different moving parts. My impression from this though is that it's not really the style of game that is suited to maybe tournament play or fast-paced games. I imagine playing a game of the old world, at least initially, is going to take me the bones of a full day. I'm talking like 5 to 6 hours to get through this kind of a thing. But I'm kind of here for that. When I play 40k, I expect it to be done in 2.5, 3 hours, and I imagine the same is for Age of Sigmar. And that's fine, it's a simple rule set, but I always find it a little bit shallow. The old world, on the other hand, is very much the opposite of that. If you even look at the psychology rules, there's so much rules around fear, terror, units breaking, units fleeing. It goes really hard in that kind of stuff, and I love it. You know, I'm really interested in that stuff. So when I see it happening on the table, I'm immersed, I'm understanding what's going on, and there's great names for everything as well. Even the names of all the universal special rules. Oh, it really is so cool. So I really like that kind of a system. I don't really think it's a beginner-friendly system. That is the one thing I've seen a lot of people saying, and I would agree with that. If this is your first experience in tabletop games, you are looking at about a few hundred pages of rules to get your head around, to memorize, and to make sure that you're not tripping up on during your games. That's not a very easy experience. This is catered for more experienced gamers, people who are kind of veterans and looking to go back to something that they used to play before. And I kind of get that, you know, not every system has to be super simple, and this one definitely is not. So I haven't actually played a game of the old world yet, but I definitely want to, and I'm really excited to just kind of get my Bretonians out on the table, throw some dice around, and see what happens. And at the end of the day, yeah, it's cool. The presentation of the book is phenomenal, and I'm so excited about it. So before we wrap this one up, I'm going to start making some miniatures on camera, and let's see how those all go together. We're going to move on to that next. Okay, so the first thing that I'm noticing here is that unless I'm completely blind, there's actually no instructions that come with the box set, which I guess is a vibe. But to be fair, I'm just looking at the peasants now. They don't look particularly difficult to put together. So let's try putting together one of these peasants here. We've got this little fat boy here, you know, he's got the studded leather armor. That's a relatively decent survivability boost in D&D terms at least. Why don't we give him we're gonna give him a nice square shield. Let's go with something like that. And we have a fantastic selection of very ugly heads to choose from here. There is a nice fellow here with his mouth open. He's kind of breathing in the good air of Bretonnia. So let's go with that head. I like that one. And then we just have to select, I believe, a main weapon for him. I like this kind of billhook looking vibe going on here, so we're gonna go with that. Let's see how that comes out. And I guess, I think we have to put one of these things on his side as well. So why don't we give him... He looks like the kind of guy who's gonna take a cudgel, so let's go with that. And let's get them glued together. This doesn't look too complicated. I think I'm smart enough to work with this. He came together pretty quick. It's an interesting one, these funny little dudes. They definitely have aged, there's no doubt about that. But I'm a fan. Yeah, I like these little peasants. I can see myself having a lot of fun with them. There's a lot of scope for conversions as well to make them a little bit more interesting, and I would be curious to, you know, see how they can kind of interact with the new Cities of Sigmar range. But let's move on to one of the knights and see how easy that guy is going to be to build. Okay, so let's move on to one of the knights here. Now, again, the sprue economy is just terrible. on this miniature, and we had the funny bag of horses as well. I actually couldn't find the horse's head for quite a while, but thankfully it has been located, so it won't quite be the headless horse rider going around. But yeah, I mean, look, it looks fairly simple overall to kind of get this down. We're just gonna clip the horse off his funny little ooh, actually, hang on a minute. I wasn't supposed to do that, I don't think. I think this actually slots. Yep, it definitely does slot into the base. So let's make sure we keep that for the second side of the horse. Whoops. Just little old world problems, am I right, guys? I think, yeah, this guy kind of just slots in like a sort of like a push fit model. So let's oil that joint up and squeeze him on in there. Now, as I was kind of saying, especially when it comes to these knights, even though obviously this is a very, very old sculpt, you know, we're talking a couple of decades old at this point, it really still kind of holds up, especially the design of the horses. Like it sort of just works, you know. There's a lot of excellent scope for freehand here, and I think you just kind of got to pick a matching head for the horse, which isn't too difficult. But yeah, there's just so much love about this kit, in my opinion. It's really, really cool. And it does come together very simply. It's quite intuitive, I think, so there's not really too much room for mistake, I hope. Although we have seen already a critical error on my part. So maybe it's not that simple. Yeah, his little head just slots on like that. Look, lovely little horse, you know. Absolutely wonderful. We'll let him to one side so that he can kind of glue up over there. Now we just have to make the knight. This is interesting. There's a lot of different bits and pieces to choose from here, and it's very exciting. Alright, so let's start snipping some stuff out and put this guy together. Alright, there we have it, our first little Bretonian cavalryman, knightly hero, you know. Is he a little bit goofy? Yeah, of course he is, but that's kind of part of the charm, to be honest. It doesn't come together as easy as a modern Citadel kit, that's definitely for sure, and it takes a little bit longer to kind of, for the pieces to cure in place, and the joints aren't necessarily as perfect as what we're kind of used to, but at the end of the day, it's still very self-explanatory and not too bad altogether. So we've done a peasant, we've done one of the knights. I'm not really going to do too much more because I don't want to build a whole box all in one go. So why don't we just cut to the finish up and summary of this video. So, Warhammer, the old world. Is it good? Is it bad? It's kind of hard to say, I guess. I haven't really played a game with it yet, obviously, but from diving into the box, from having a look at the rulebook and building a couple of models, I'm into it. This is really cool. Like I said, it's a real nostalgia hit, and yeah, I never had the opportunity to build or paint Bretonnia when I was younger, as much as I wanted to, and now I do, and I'm very, very thankful for that. Overall, I think it's a complex game, there's no doubt about that, but in this case, I think the complexity is good. Not every game system has to be simple and easy to learn, and while this one isn't, it is still very involved, it's very immersive, and I think the miniatures still hold a lot of charm. There's a lot to be said for the simplicity of their design as well. It gives an experienced painter a lot of room to try new and fun techniques. So yeah, overall, I think I like it, and I think I'm going to play more of it. And if you folks are interested in seeing more of the old world or other game systems here on the Red Path, you gotta let us know down below, because otherwise we're not going to know that you like it. So drop us a like, drop us a comment, let me know if you're getting into the old world yourself and what army you're planning on playing. But I think for now, that has been enough of this. I have been Dara, and if you want to catch more of the Red Path, you can check out all the links down below, especially our Discord. That's where all the fun is at. Until the next one though, folks, you stay healthy, stay safe, and kill main burn.